1,
2,
3,
4.
Monster movie.
Fun time, go! Monster movie.
Fun time, go. Monster.
Movie.
Fun time.
Go!
Monster movie. Fun time, go.
With Precious D and Honeybee.
Fun time, go!
Welcome to the Flash Finds Podcast, the world's fastest podcast where we explore how Facebook can help you with the stuff you're into. I'm Emma Rogue, joined by Nathan the Cat Lady, a Facebook creator. So Nathan, if you're into pets, what kind of stuff can you find on Facebook?
Well, I make reels about useful tips for pet owners. For instance, cats don't like still water, so all of my cats have cat fountains.
Oh my gosh, that's so cute. What a great episode. See you next time on the Flash Finds Podcast, all about discovering the stuff on Facebook you care about. Bye.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, friends and neighbors, welcome to Monster Movie Fun Time Go, 31 Days of Horror. Oops, all werewolves. Back with me once again is my brother, the Texicano folk rock punk Gabriel Lopez.
Howdy
Welcome back.
Howdy all y'all there out in MMFTG land. Thank you for tuning in again.
We're talking today about Teen Wolf 2.
Teen Wolf also.
Came out a mere 2 years after Teen Wolf. Only 2 cast members returned, although 4 characters returned.
Right.
So it is directed by Christopher Leach, screenplay by R. Timothy Kring. It says story by Joseph Loeb III and Matthew Weissman because it's the same story. Even though they didn't write this screenplay, it's still their story.
Well, is that because it's a based on story or based on character?
But then it
you know
also
what I
says
mean?
based on Teen Wolf by those two
gotcha.
guys. So, produced by Kent Bateman. Is he related?
I meant to
Jason
look that up. I
Bateman?
saw that in the credits today when I was rewatching it.
He is the father of Jason and Justine.
Well, those Hollywood parents. I mean, clearly he did a good job of getting his kids in the biz.
Yeah, it was Jason's first movie. He had done some TV work before this, but it's 94 minutes, and the budget. It came out November 20th, 1987. Why not a month earlier for Halloween?
Takes a long time to make such a shitty film.
The budget was between 4 and 7 million, and the box office was 7.9 million, which may be why we never got a Teen Wolf 3.
Yeah, I mean, that's really bad. I mean, they still made money.
Not really.
2 million?
It depends on what the budget actually was, but normally you got to make
you
twice.
spend about $1 million on advertising and everything else.
Usually you got to make back twice what you spent to be considered
Right.
successful.
Well, that's the problem with, this was a successful film, so let's use the exact same formula.
But with another guy
do it
that
again.
nobody's heard of at the time.
Well, he had done TV the same as Michael J. Fox.
I mean, he did, as far as I know at that time, he had done one season of a show that was not picked up.
Oh, okay.
So,
But his sister was already successful
I think so.
because she was in Family Ties with Michael J. Fox.
There you go. Could be what they were thinking. The cast is Jason Bateman as Todd Howard, Kim Darby as Professor Tanya Brooks, John Aston as Dean Dunn, Paul Sand as Coach Bobby Finstock. So that is a returning character who is now a different actor. James Hampton as Uncle Harold Howard, returning actor and character. Mark Holton as Chubby, returning character and actor.
Yes.
Esty Chandler as Nikki. Stuart Fratkin as Rupert Stiles Stalinsky. New actor, same character, now with a full name. He was just Stiles before.
Right, well.
Boof was just Boof and Stiles was just Stiles.
Right.
Robert Neary as Steve Gus Gustavson. Beth Ann Miller as Lisa Goldfluss. I don't remember who that is. Rachel Sharp as Emily. William H. Burton as Pug. David Burton as Peter. And Kathleen Freeman as Admissions Lady.
We've seen her in stuff before.
The admissions lady?
Yeah, she's
She has a link here on her. Oh, okay, yes.
You'll recognize her. Character act. She plays lunch ladies and
She was in the Blues Brothers and
plays counters.
and its sequel. She was in Blues Brothers 2000 also.
Good for her.
Naked Gun, 33 and a third. The Final Insult. So yeah, you're right. She has been in a lot of stuff that we have seen. I didn't realize she was also in Blues Brothers 2000. So this movie stars the Scott's cousin, Todd, who for some reason is being taken to college by his uncle, who was letting him know, unlike his son, that he might become a werewolf.
Because now the secret's out. So at least they weren't pretending like
Yes. Like the
people
one,
in the community.
like the whole town
'cause
hadn't
it's-
heard about it.
Right, exactly. So the cousin would have heard about it. At least they addressed that right away.
Yes.
That was the one part of writing where I was like, okay.
And now
we're building
Dad's
a
just
universe here.
turning into a wolf while he's driving down the street.
Yeah, clearly. Well, at that point, nobody gives a shit anymore.
Yeah.
You know, in this town.
And in fact, it seems like he's been recruited because they suspect he's a werewolf.
Yes, because the coach
The coach is
of
now
the high school is now at the college.
doing boxing instead of basketball.
Right. And nobody cared that this kid had never boxed in his life. The coach
Right.
gets him in on a clarinet
He gives him
scholarship.
no, he gives him a boxing scholarship.
Right.
Guy wants to study science, but he brings him in on a boxing
This
scholarship.
reminded me of another reason why this movie is
And
so
apparently, boxing is the big thing at this school.
bad. Right.
And John Aston, for the younger people out there, was Gomez Adams on the Addams Family TV show.
Also father of Sean Astin.
Yes, I think technically his adopted father.
Oh.
Yeah.
No, you're right. I think so.
Which it surprised me because Sean is a form of the name John. So I just assumed
Right.
he had actually been named for him, but it's just a coincidence. Still, big time guy. Been in a million things.
And I like John Astin.
Yeah.
But
He doesn't have whole lot to do in this movie.
no. Okay,
And
so in the first scene, right out the gate, sorry, I don't know if you need to finish more.
No,
before we
go
start
ahead.
tearing it apart. They couldn't decide if they wanted to make a screwball comedy or an 80s John Hughes film.
Uh-huh.
And it would periodically, even the camera work would be like your police academy type shots. You know, just two shots that they kept cutting back and forth between of the dog and the coach on the couch and him beside, just really your basic directing that you get with a lot of just screwball comedies,
Right.
You know, police academies and, you
Yeah.
know, but then they would try to have these more dramatic, they couldn't decide where they wanted to take it.
Yeah.
Okay.
And they don't go full blown Animal House.
Right.
Though
Exactly.
Styles seems like he's trying to get that movie started,
Right.
but it doesn't quite happen. There is, however, a musical number.
And three, not one, not two, but three musical montages. Oh my God.
I didn't even notice that.
I saw the first one. When the second one happened, I was like, oh, we're doing this again. And then when the third happened, I'm like, holy
Right.
shit.
Yeah. What were they for?
And that was part of the problem. There was no. Okay, so the first Teen Wolf. Sorry, I got a lot of thoughts on this. First Teen Wolf, I at least kind of cared about Michael J. Fox's character. You know, there wasn't a lot of time developing, but there was some charm to it. They rushed through this so quickly that I really didn't care.
Yeah.
At no point did, and I love Bateman. Huge fan of Jason Bateman, especially his later, from Arrested Development on. I love everything he's done. I'll
Yeah.
watch anything he's done. But he's not like a Gary Oldman, where you see film to film. Oh my God, he's so different. You know,
Yeah.
he's got a type and he sticks to it,
Right.
and he does it great. And I'll watch it over and over and over. It'll be more dramatic, like an Ozark, or more comedic, like Arrested Development.
But he's still just.
But he's still Bateman,
just
Bateman in and
Jason
out.
Bateman. Yeah.
Even I watched a documentary about their podcast tour.
Yeah.
And it's like, yeah, absolutely. He's just doing his Bateman, and it's great, and I love it. And it was the only part I enjoyed of this film was seeing the early stages of that. Mm-hmm. But he still does it, and it's as an actor, he kind of has this air of someone who doesn't want to be there. The character doesn't want to be there, isn't comfortable with the situation, is just doing his best to survive.
Right.
but the script wasn't really written for that. Arrested Development, Ozark, it's all built around that character quirk or flaw or whatever you want to call it. The script wasn't designed for that. So you have him, you can see there's just something he's had his whole life of that kind of awkwardness, but it doesn't really fit with the character, especially he becomes a wolf too quickly and now has all this confidence. But it wasn't, the only redeeming part of the film was that it wasn't interesting seeing those early tics and those early mannerisms in Jason Bateman, because he has them and they come out in every character he has. But the script was horrendous.
You should you should try to find, if it's on YouTube or something, It's Your Move,
Okay.
which was his first sitcom that he's the star of.
Mm-hmm.
It's
Is it any good?
I loved it at the time.
Mm-hmm.
He's basically a kid who's always scheming, conniving, putting one over on the adults.
Right.
And there's just one adult who's knows what he's up to, and of course can't ever pin him down, can't ever catch him out in front of anybody else.
But he's always tried to?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. It's really good, but I think it's only got 18 episodes.
So, yeah, they took the same formula as the first, I mean, almost scene by scene at some parts.
Mm-hmm. So we said
It was just exhausting. It was exhausting because it was just the exact same film, the exact same plot, the exact same story.
We said last episode, second verse, same as the first, a little bit louder and a little bit worse. And it is not only just worse quality-wise, but he's a bigger asshole than Michael J. Fox was.
Yeah,
Because even when Michael was playing basketball and not sharing the ball, he was trying to win the game.
right.
He wasn't purposely being an asshole towards his teammates. He was just wrapped up in the game and trying to win.
Sure.
And once he became aware of what he was doing wrong, he fixed it, which Bateman does eventually. But he just turns into a real asshole pretty quickly.
Right away.
Yeah. And to the point where Styles is like, oh, yeah, be careful what you wish for. I was pushing for this, and now I
But-
regret it.
That pissed me off, too, in the writing. I mean, granted, it's a screwball comedy, and I shouldn't expect too much. But Styles and Chubbs both should have been like, wait, this is the same shit we saw happen 2 years ago.
Yeah.
This kid's going through the exact same thing that seems to happen when you're a werewolf. Let's pull him aside and talk to him.
Say, look.
Instead of just being like,
Right.
hey, you're an asshole now, we're going to walk away. When
Right.
you guys encouraged it to begin with.
They could have just said, now look, you're turning into a werewolf, so I just want to give you a heads up. It's going to go to your head. Don't let it go to your head.
Right.
But that would have meant that it might have to be a different movie at some point.
Right. We might have had to work on writing and crafting a new story to tell instead of repeating the same damn film.
I appreciated that Chubb was in this movie, and that he seemed, I don't know, he just seemed better, older, more, he seemed a little more confident in himself. Mm-hmm. I felt like his character had grown and gone somewhere. Like he was in college, he wasn't just the same kid that was in high school.
Sure.
He didn't have that much to do, but he just seemed a little, he's playing in an orchestra and he's
Right. He's
I
fencing.
think he's doing all right in the boxing because he's big and he's hard
but he's
to
not
knock
an
down.
athlete. He shouldn't have been on the basketball team, and he shouldn't have been on the boxing team.
And but being a big guy.
I mean, I guess,
could-
look at guys like Butterbean.
Yeah, that might be to his advantage in boxing. As long
Right,
as
but he
can
was
throw a
horrible
punch.
at basketball.
Doesn't he knock a guy out?
He does knock. Yes, he pushes him. First, he's been training,
Right.
but then he starts trying to wrestle the guy. He pushes him off the ropes like in wrestling, and then just holds his
Right.
fist out like he's doing a
Right.
fencing move, and the guy runs into his fist. That's what I'm saying. Where they couldn't decide if they wanted to be a screwball, slapstick comedy, or they wanted to be a '90s John Hughes film.
Oh, I do want to talk about the musical number.
Okay.
So it's there's a party and they
Immediately after he turned into a werewolf.
Yes.
This is the next scene.
Yeah.
When he first went from this shy, goofy kid, werewolf for an afternoon. Immediately now he has
and
a new
it's
suit
like an
and a
alumni.
song.
Is this the alumni party? No, there was a different. The alumni party was the one where Chubb was playing the musical instrument.
where the great line happens.
What's that line?
And I remember laughing at it when it came out, and I think Tobias used to always repeat the line, or maybe it was Danny. The dip goes flying through the air, and right before it hits her, someone just off camera, don't know who it is, just goes, dip, boom, and then it hits her like they're trying to warn her that dip is flying through the air.
Right.
And that line
Like
just
you're going to
cracks
know
me
what
up.
that means? Somebody else.
Exactly. Like, it's just not duck, not look out, just dip. Like, this is a common occurrence
Right,
that
at the-
one should know if you holler out dip.
Yes. At the party, there's a bit of a fracas. And
That was the best part of the whole damn movie. But again, slapstick, or, are we doing slapstick, or are we doing 80s,
yeah.
Johnny
So
Hughes
for some
romantic
reason, though,
comedy?
at this this other party, this like a frat party or something, he comes out on the balcony and starts performing "Do You Love Me." I don't know if it's a Ferris Bueller thing we're doing here,
That's what I immediately thought about.
because that's one of the songs that's the same song.
Was Bueller before this? I'm
No, I
pretty
mean,
sure it was.
La Bamba, Twist and Shout, Do You Love Me? They're all kind of the same song.
Right, yeah, GC. I mean, it's a 3-chord progression, but
Right, but they have not just that, they have some of the same elements
Right.
in them. Anyway, it turns into not just him performing a song, but a musical number, because choreography begins happening.
yes, and it just drives me crazy that he's got the microphone for the first verse. Then he throws it away and starts
Yeah.
dancing, isn't singing anymore, but we still hear the singing.
Yeah, we don't see his lips moving.
It's a minor thing. So he
Well-
was doing karaoke the whole time.
No, he wasn't. He was lip syncing.
Oh, well, absolutely.
No, I mean, I know the actor was, but I think the character was also lip syncing.
Maybe. But
certainly wasn't
it just the whole thing just pissed me off.
I mean, that's what we observe. We observe
if he's going to be a performer
we
and he's
observe
singing,
that
have him
the-
singing.
We observe that the
And then dancing.
that
Don't
the
have this
singing
song
continues happening
Exactly.
when he's not
While
singing.
he's not. Oh, that just. Oh, was not a fan of that.
But yeah, the girls everybody start doing organized choreography.
Yeah. But then and I mean, they had the dance number where, in the first one where he's doing people can't see my hands, but he's doing like the kind of Thriller-esque type dance that then everyone starts doing along with him.
Right,
But yes, these people already had this arranged. They knew what to do.
which is just kind of weird because it's just not that kind of movie.
No, because they couldn't decide what kind of movie they wanted to do. They were just throwing in everything that was successful.
And I'm not opposed to that
time.
in general. I think if it just had been a better movie. I'm
Yeah,
not opposed to just a musical number in the middle of a movie.
Absolutely.
I'm okay with it.
I love all
That's
sorts
not a
of
musical-
genre bending and pushing the boundaries of what film can be. But I don't think any of this was artistic choices to try to make some sort of statement or have some
Right.
sort of effect. This was just lazy ass. Hey, we got this movie, we got this script, push it through we're going to make some money at the box office.
Right.
And that's why it failed. Now, my favorite part of it was that actress, Boof. I mean, it was Nikki this time, but it was
Right.
the same character. She was great. She was the best part of it.
Right.
And I tried looking her up. She did maybe 10 films, TV guest spots, and then disappeared. And now is just a political activist. It has been for,
What about Boof? What did Boof do?
I don't know what
Nothing.
Boof,
I don't think Boof
not
did
much.
Did you think I was unsettled by the science teacher? I kept thinking something inappropriate was going to happen with her. But it turns out that she's just a werewolf also.
Yeah, I don't know if I remembered it from being a kid, because maybe I did, but immediately I was like, oh, she's a werewolf. But then why, when the father or the uncle was trying to be so supportive and say, I'll be here, he doesn't show up till way later in the movie. As soon as he had his first public, he told he's like, I told you mom and dad would look out for you. Well, as soon as he turned into a werewolf at the boxing match, he should have been over there that night. Hey,
Right.
so you are a wolf now, let's talk about this.
No, he doesn't come back till he's already fucked up and pissed off all his friends.
Exactly. And I assume the werewolf community would be kind of small and tight knit.
Yeah.
He would probably know that this science teacher
Yeah.
was a werewolf, and he should have said, hey, by the way, your advisor
Right.
happens to be a werewolf too. So if you do go through that, maybe go talk to him. Or
So-
she could have pulled him
well,
aside
that's
and been
the
like,
thing.
why not tell him sooner and be like, hey, I'm a wolf too. I get it. Let's talk.
We've talked about the different types of werewolf movies. And the werewolf's journey, there's a Werewolf Among Us and The Secret Lives of Werewolves.
Right.
Somewhere off screen, in this world is The Secret Lives of Werewolves, but we learn nothing about it.
Well, same in
We learn
in the first one.
Right. In both of them, we learn nothing. There is some kind of werewolf society, presumably, but we learn nothing about it.
Right.
It has no rules whatsoever.
That could have been a better sequel. So, again, I would have, so we're doing a sequel, right? So it ends with the exact same ending.
Yeah.
Of he decides, no, I'm not going to be the wolf. I'm just going to be me, and wins.
Yeah.
He's been boxing for a semester.
And then in both movies, then it just ends.
Right. He's been boxed with. It looks like he's going to talk to the pretty girl, but no, he goes back to Boof.
Yeah.
If they were going to have a sequel, then in this one, there should have been consequences for taking the high road and doing the right thing. Because in life, you don't win when you have a moral and you have a conscience and you take the high road.
In real
More
life,
often than not, you lose.
In real life,
cheaters and frauds and hucksters and thieves win in this world.
In real life,
not people with morals and conscience. He should have lost the fight like it was Rocky. There was no consequences. He decided it's some Disney ass bullshit where the Little Mermaid gets her voice back and gets to get married. He should have lost the fight, but it would have mattered more that he made the decision to become a person. Right. It didn't matter that he chose not to be a werewolf because he won anyway.
In real life,
bullshit.
When you turn off your targeting computer, you miss and the planet gets destroyed.
Exactly. It was
So what are you going to?
It was
what rating?
Okay, if this had been Teen Wolf,
yeah,
and then the Michael J. Fox was Teen Wolf 2, I probably would have felt kind of the same. Like the reason it was so bad is just because it was the exact same film. His buddies were the same. They went through the same conflicts, the same. I mean, it was basketball. It was boxing instead of basketball. It was the science lab instead of the theater group. The part where, okay, this is a guy who wants to go to school to be a veterinarian in college. And yet when it comes time to dissect the frog, he's like, I don't know what's going on here because I've been too busy being a wolf. I did that shit in junior high.
Yeah.
He would have done that in junior high. He would have done it in his high school science classes at least. Like there just was no, and we never saw that. We never saw him having smarts, being an intelligent person. We saw him being a whiny ass, basically Bateman, which is a great character. I love that character, but not a character that I care enough about that when he becomes an asshole right away.
Yeah.
He's writing a line of, hey, I'm kind of an asshole, but I'm lovable. But I couldn't get close to the character. I didn't give a shit that people didn't like him anymore. And again, I love Bateman, but God, just the wrong actor for the role, or wrong script. They didn't match up. Same fucking movie. They didn't, and because they had already established this universe in the first one, it felt like the writers and directors and the whole crew was like, we can just blaze through this shit. And so, too many montages. So there was no character development. If you hadn't seen the first one, you're not going to give a shit about Styles or any of them. One, can we give it what is it when the moon's not even in the damn sky?
New Moon.
New Moon?
Yep.
That's a weird name because you don't even see it.
That's what it's called.
There's not one in between when it's completely black?
That's the New Moon. When it's completely...
New Moon's there's at least a slice. That's a horrible
That's
name.
what it's called, man. What do you want me to do about it?
Well, because that almost sounds positive. Oh, God. It was just so bad. I fucking hated it. I didn't even want to... I only finished it because of this. If I was watching it for any nostalgic reasons, I would have turned it off halfway through.
You can give it the meteor hit the moon and broke it into pieces.
Yeah, the rocket in the old black and white movie that lands in the moon's eye. That's what this was.
Okay.
And I wanted to like it, and it should have been good. It could have been... I mean, it's not going to be a Casablanca or Citizen Kane or any great movie. But for what it was, it could have been good. He should have lost the boxing match. I would have cared. Okay. I would have cared that he made the choice, that he made the right choice, but there was consequences for it.
Right.
I didn't give a shit. And yes, it's a comedy. I get it. You're supposed to feel good at the end of it.
I'm giving it quarter moon.
Oh God!
Because
wait, is a quarter? I mean,
that's
we're doing 1 out of 4.
That's 2.
That's 2.
That's 2. 2 out
How
of 5.
can you give it a 2?
2 out of 5. 2 means I didn't like it.
I'm giving it a 0. I'm
this
giving
is
it a
on the
fucking
scale
0. Okay, I guess I'll give it a 1.
You haven't been watching all the movies I've been watching.
That's true.
There's one that we watched this year that is much, much worse.
Yeah.
Because it's makes the cardinal sin of being boring.
And I hate this. Is why I would never want to do this
because
on a regular.
it does no effects, and it's boring.
Right.
Which this wasn't that.
Oh, speaking of the Chubbs actor, I saw that. I just felt the need to rant about this real quick. He finally got a decent role, a good role, like a lead role. He plays. I looked this up when I was looking to see what else he had been in. Not only I mentioned the last episode, he plays the greatest villain in movie history,
Mark Holton.
Francis in Pee Wee's Big Adventure. He was brilliant in that. But he got, his whole career, when there's parts that he could have maybe gone up for, of course, they just cast the pretty boy and put him in prosthetics. They do that all the time in Hollywood.
Yeah.
If it's a decent role, they just give it to someone else and use makeup. But he apparently he played Gacy.
Oh.
The movie's just called Gacy, but it had like 17% on Rotten Tomatoes, which is sad because I would have liked to have seen him have a chance to shine. For years he showed up, he did his job being the butt of the jokes in the 80s, 90s culture, and he's still never from what I've seen. Yeah, but I don't know if he's still getting any better. I feel he deserves a moment. He deserves a Qui-Gon. No, what's his name? That's going to sound horrible. Everything I Want, Data, and Short Round.
Yeah.
Quinn, I don't know his name. I almost said Qui-Gon Jinn, but that's definitely not the right thing.
Yeah.
One of those moments, or a Brendan Fraser moment, or I feel the guy's just owed. He put in his time, damn it, and I want to see him have a decent role that's not just.
Well, he's in something coming up next year called Streamer. A horror film.
Okay. But yeah, apparently the Gacy film.
He was in
very
Leprechaun Returns because he was in the original Leprechaun.
good. Okay.
It's a direct.
But was he the same kind of character? Was he still just the comic relief?
I think he has a mental deficiency.
Okay.
So Leprechaun Returns is a direct sequel to Leprechaun. There's 7 of these movies altogether.
Oh, I thought there was even more than that.
But a lot of them are, either prequels or sidequels, or there's one that's a reboot that nobody gave a shit about.
Yeah.
This one's a direct.
I'm the Leprechaun.
This one's a direct sequel. He got shoved into at the end of the first movie. He's coming back out of in this one.
Sorry, one last kvetch about this film. So he does take the moral high ground and chooses not to be the wolf, but then Chubbs cheats because he's losing the round, and Chubbs takes that screw or that bolt, the nut, and throws it at the bell and rings it early. So he still cheated. Like, I felt they were taking away from it then, and then now Chubbs is ultimately the villain. Mm-hmm. He's the cheater-faced cheater. Such a horrible script. It was just horrible. I felt, the Styles kid was trying his heart out. He was putting everything into it, and for the type of movie sometimes it wanted to be, he was getting the job done. John Astin was completely wasted. He was definitely trying to be in a screwball comedy.
Yeah.
He
was very much playing a college dean.
Right. The coach was very much... And this is why I couldn't do this on a regular basis, I don't think. Because I hate... someone somewhere on that set was putting their heart and soul into that.
So
I'm sure Bateman was... The actress that I liked that quit or just did other things with their life was putting her heart and soul in it. And so I hate to tear down things that people tried really hard at. But damn it, it was bad.
Our new Styles is Stuart Fratkin, who is also in Ski School, playing a very similar character.
Oh, I'm sure he is.
And they came from outer space with his Ski School co-star Dean Cameron.
I remember the name Ski School. I don't remember.
Dean Cameron was the star of Rockula that we covered in a previous 31 Days of Horror. That is a fucking brilliant movie.
Yeah? Okay.
Tony Basil's in it.
I recognize the name. I know that name.
And Thomas Dolby.
Okay. Don't know that name.
You do.
Well, I might know the face.
He's known for being blinded by science.
Okay. The old guy?
And the old guy.
Never mind. Were you talking about Weird Science? Is that Blinded by Science?
No, I'm talking about the song, She Blinded Me with Science.
Okay. He's in that?
He's the guy that sings the song, She Blinded Me with
Science.
Gotcha.
They don't use that in the movie Weird Science?
They might. I don't know.
I think they do.
I don't know.
I think it might have been written for that movie. I'm serious.
Say.
I think it might have been.
Anyway, I think that's going to wrap it up.
I vaguely remember a music video for that with the girl with the...
Possibly. No, that's the song Weird Science.
Weird Science? Okay, yeah.
Different song.
Bad 80s
different
songs.
Also a terrible movie. There's no science anywhere near that movie.
No, probably not. But I remember liking it as a young adolescent male for obvious reasons.
Yeah, sure.
It's fresh. I just watched it tonight.
Right.
So I'm still very upset about this movie.
Steaming. Okay, I think we need to wrap it up before your head explodes.
No, it'll be okay.
Folks, please follow us on all the things and like and subscribe and rate and review. You can find links to all our things on all the places at mmftg.com, and consider supporting us on Patreon at patreon.com/mmftg, where for a limited time, maybe, you can request a movie for us to do as a Patreon exclusive, as long as we have a manageable number of patrons.
Yes, what's the one you have to do soon? Because of
We're
that.
doing Ghost Rider.
No, Twilight.
No.
You have to do that if you get enough.
If we get 100 patrons.
Yes, I knew there was some we had to plug.
Yeah.
100 patrons. Come on, guys.
So, yeah, the deal is you can request.
If you want to hear Dominic get as worked up as I got about Teen Wolf 2, then get some more patrons on there so we can hear him.
The caveat is
lose his
you
shit
can,
for Twilight.
You can request the movie, but we might say no. For example, we will never do Twilight unless we get 100 patrons. That also, it should go without saying that we're not going to be doing other Twilight movies. You can't. You can't say
at 200, then you do.
Well, no, I know
Twilight 2.
No, I'm saying if you sign up today and you're like the 7th patron, you can't say, "Oh, will you do New Moon Part 2?" No.
That'll be the 200 goal. That's a good goal.
Yeah.
At 200, you can do Twilight 2.
Something like
300, Twilight 3.
So, yeah, we'll see. Anyway, thanks for joining us, everybody. Thanks for joining me, Gabriel. Remember to keep calm and take shelter in basements. Please don't misuse science, especially weird science. We won't see you, but
Or science that will blind you.
Yes. You will hear us next time on Monster Movie Fun Time Go. You've been listening to Monster Movie Fun Time Go. If you enjoyed the show, please rate and review us on your podcasting platform of choice. Our theme song is by the Texicano Folk Rock Punk featuring Lita Lopez. You can support the show, find links to our social media, and even leave us a voice message at anchor.fm/mmftg.